Solemn day across the country as President Jimmy Carter gets laid to rest. The day began with his formal state funeral in Washington, D.C. at the National Cathedral. Family, friends, and leaders, including all 5 living presidents, showed up to say their final goodbyes. President Biden delivered an emotional eulogy.
I miss him, but I take solace in knowing that he and his beloved Rosalind are reunited again. To the entire Carter family, thank you, and I mean this sincerely, for sharing them both with America.
This afternoon, President Carter's casket was flown back home to his hometown of Plains, Georgia, where a private funeral was held at a church there just a little while ago. Later this evening, he'll be laid to rest next to his late wife, Rosalind, at their residence.
As we continue our coverage of the funeral of President Jimmy Carter, how a twist of fate and an airsick bag helped a Southwest Florida man secure a coveted one-on-one interview with the former president. John Bafar was on assignment for Wink News in Africa when fate put him on the same return flight.
It all happened very much by happenstance.
Filmmaker John Bafar was returning from a shoot on the first flight from Southwest Florida to the Cabo Verde Islands in 1987 when the unexpected happened on a connecting flight.
He was standing right in front of me, and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. President," and I introduced myself from Wing TV. And I said, "Would you mind doing an interview? We just came back from Africa." And he said, "Well, let me think about it. And what are your questions?" He asked me to write the questions down. So I did, but the only thing I had to write with was the airsick bag that was in the seat in front of me. And about 20 minutes before we landed, the Secret Service came back and said, "The president has agreed to do your interview."
John Bafar believes it was the former president's love of Africa and its people that scored him that interview.
And it was a great passion of his. You know, the underserved of the world everywhere was a passion of his. And so it intrigued him that we were just there.
If we create a world economy of fairness and growth.
President Carter was the first U.S. president to make a state visit to sub-Saharan Africa, and he and his wife Rosalind visited it many times after their time in the White House.
She gets three tablets.
Working to eliminate disease and meeting with African leaders to secure fair elections, human rights, and peace among warring regions.
He was still, serving the wheel, and I think he was really just finding his own groove and making, a big impact worldwide. But he lived by Christian principles. That was always, I believe, his guiding light, helping others, treat others the way you want to be treated, the basics. But I think we need his legacy today and his example.
I mean, can you believe that? You're just on a plane and all of a sudden you're right in front of the president.
As a reporter, I'm trying to play through in my head how that would all play out if it happened to me. I don't think I'd get the words out correctly.
I know, but it's an interesting story and it's great to hear it.
Yeah, part of our history here.
Yeah.